on BookTube, there's many mood readers, but then there's moody people who read books and are mood readers on top of that. What's up? What's going on? Hide and read. We're going to do a bit of a forecast for the next month for reading, what kind of books I'm going to project to read, and much like your local weather forecast, let me stop doing things with my hands. Much like your weather forecast, this could be wildly inaccurate, but most likely it will be semi-accurate, and I can't promise much more than that. We've tried this a few times. It never really... I'm never satisfied at the end of it, but it's kind of one of my goals to be able to project what I'm going to be reading more, be a little bit more predictable, just so I can stay on target with certain things. I've recently gotten into reading Gothics, classic Gothic, fiction. I've been a Western reader for a while now, and so between those two things, and now I have my 50 before 50 list, I think we can kind of more easily, more reliably predict what I'll be reading with a bit of mood reading thrown in. So let's see how we do. This is the monthly forecast for July 2026, and let's see how we do. All right, so my reading month for June, not as stellar as the previous months. You know, that's kind of just going to happen. You're going to have your ups and downs. Try not to beat myself up too much about it, or at all. It just happens, you know. If you don't have lows, you can't experience highs. So, just the nature of all things. I started reading The Monk. The name of the author has slipped my memory, but because I don't have a physical copy of it, you'll see a nice little picture here. I'm reading it on the Kindle. That's been awesome. I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I could probably push the next 2 days and get it done, but I'm enjoying it. I don't want to turn it into a chore or a task, but we'll definitely be talking about that in the future. Similar kind of thing. I completely neglected to read Alaska this month. So I think once I get this forecast, once I kind of push through it a little bit, I'm going to sneak in and try to finish up Alaska this month. Let's see if we could do that, by James Michener. It's been a lot of fun, but it's just stretched on far too long, to be honest. I want to get to the other Michener books I have, or Rutherford, or some other 1,000-page historical fictions that I have lying around. Typically, I don't think I would want to stretch a single book over this many months, but the way that the book is set out, it has lots of different characters, and the character arcs and plots basically have a beginning and an end point, and they're all around like between 100. Sometimes the characters will kind of leak into the next chapter, but the chapters are typically 100 pages, so it's kind of like a collection of novellas, basically. Definitely would suggest reading this. It's awesome. Just want to try out some different stuff, so try to knock that out this month. Let's see if we could do that. 50 before 50 list, going smoothly. Started knocking away at that this month. I read the first book in Hitchhiker's Guide, and I'm going to read the second book, maybe even the third. They're light reads. I can get them done in like 2 days. You know, they're not too big of a deal. It's nice, fun, lighthearted reading. So, not sure when I'll sneak that in, but basically if I ever feel like a little bit bogged down by what I'm reading, or maybe just like what I'm reading is a little bit too heavy, I can sneak into this. Also, started chipping away. I want to read all the fiction of Edgar Allan Poe. That's on my 50 before 50 list. Not sure. There's a lot of editorial stuff, a lot of poems, things like that. maybe we'll sneak that in there too. But I started reading Edgar Allan Poe short stories, and we'll talk about that in the monthly wrap-up. But that's going to be next month as well. I'm going to be reading more Edgar Allan Poe for sure. I picked up a copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I'm aware that I'm mispronouncing her last name. I'm American. We do such things. It's not supposed to have a hard R. It's du Maurier. But, yeah. It is what it is. I'm stubborn. I'm just going to keep saying du Maurier. I just prefer it, to be honest. Maybe her ghost will visit me and correct me, but until then, yeah. And excited to start reading Rebecca. Like I said, I'm into these, kind of classic Gothics. Yeah, just kind of a recent interest, and I'm realizing how much, especially English literature, like literature written in English, has to do with the genre of Gothics, and I just had no idea exactly what a Gothic was outside of, moody teenage girls in all black. But starting to get a handle on that. I think maybe in a month or two, once I have a few more under my belt, we'll start talking about the genre as a whole. It's been a lot of fun. I definitely suggest, if you're not sure what Gothic literature is, do a little light reading about it. You've probably read quite a few already. And when you read them in the future, you can kind of see the different, tropes and character plots and all that kind of stuff. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of interesting. Like I said, a lot of American and English literature seems to be, if not based, influenced on the genre. So that's been cool. I want to read One Foot in Eden. I believe this takes place in North Carolina or somewhere close, like most of Ron Rash's stories. I really enjoyed reading Serena, I think maybe 2 years ago, and just haven't gotten back to the author. So we'll definitely be reading more of these Southern Appalachian stories by Ron Rash. Southern and Gothic. Flannery O'Connor. I got some short stories here. The title story being A Good Man is Hard to Find. Haven't read anything by the author, but from what I hear, very interested. So we'll get into Flannery O'Connor. She's from Savannah, Georgia. I had the pleasure of visiting Savannah, Georgia one time, kind of incidentally, and I really like that city. So it'll be fun to read. And it's a very literature heavy city. I was surprised how many bookstores, how many authors are from the area, and it just seems like a very historic and literate place. Definitely suggest you check it out if you ever have the chance. Then 6-shooter, always telling me, Nick, you got to read Lauren Payne. You have to read Lauren Payne. It's so necessary that you read Lauren Payne. And so anytime I see a Lauren Payne book, I've been picking it up. I think it's time to start reading Lauren Payne, as has been suggested to me. And I have this nice hardcover with 2 stories in it by Lauren Payne. So I think we'll jump right in. Why not? And last but not least, really enjoying everything I've read by this author. He writes primarily in the Western genre, but I've also read a pulp story from him. It is a pulp novel, really. Thomas McNulty. This is The Adventures of Captain Graves, and from what I understand, this is a fan favorite, and it has original illustrations, and they're really nice. So, gonna get into that, a little seafaring adventure. Why not? Eventually I should be reading Horatio Hornblower series, just haven't gotten around to it yet. I have a couple of the books to get started, and I figured that'll be a good way to get my feet wet in the seafaring genre. So nothing too crazy going on. It's a lot more than you'll see on this month's monthly wrap up. I'm starting a new job this week, so I wanted to kind of set some sort of standard before I get like set into like a routine and a schedule, because I do want to keep up on my reading, of course. And yeah, let me know if you read any of them. And thanks for checking in. And until next time, find somewhere to hide, find something to read. Peace.